And all the way from Alabama, we're thrilled to have Dave Potts.
Thank you. I couldn't help but notice she announced Karen Oliver as the voice, the hair, and the song. I was like, I want something like that too. The voice, the hair, the wardrobe maybe, I don't know, something. I've got a lot going for me too, you know? So this is a brand new song. If you've never heard me before, these are all going to be brand new songs too. But it took me about 11 years to come up with a way to write this song. And it's on our honeymoon, my wife and I had an experience that could have been just a horrible thing, and it turned into one of the favorite things that's ever happened in my life. So this is this song called Avery Taylor. I had my good shoes on. She was dressed up pretty as a photograph of the first light breaking through his morning dawns. It was the second night of our honeymoon. That time of night, that time of year in the Carolina mountains, there wasn't much to do. And we pulled out onto the winding mountain road. Not a soul in sight who would want to go out on a night that cold. There was a pop and a swerve to the side of the road. We got out to look, and sure enough, the back tire had blown. Didn't have a hat, I didn't have gloves, I didn't even know where the spare tire was, and headlights came round the bend as if on cue. So I wouldn't have to tell my brand new bride that I really didn't have a clue. He could have just kept on driving past, stayed warm in the cab of his pickup truck. My hands were freezing fast. We would have been pretty much out of luck. He said, my name's Avery, this is my son. Looks like you got a little problem there. We'll just sit back and we'll get it done. You get the jack and I'll grab the spare. They did every bit of work while we just stood there. Didn't ask for nothing, didn't seem to mind the chill in the winter air that night. They just acted like they did this all the time. He said there's a steakhouse down the road, it's the best place we got around here to go. Pleasure to meet you, all the best to you and your wife. It's been over 10 years since that night. Never had a better meal in all of my life. Could have just kept on driving past, stayed warm in the cab of his pickup truck. And my hands were freezing fast. Would have been pretty much out of luck. Avery Taylor, he didn't know me. He wasn't trying to go down in history. He was just doing what good people do, helping out others when they don't have to. So a busted tire on a January night became one of the greatest memories of my life. Could have just kept on driving past. Thank you. I want to have a friend of mine. This is Jenny Goodspeed. Join me on stage. She is part of the Boxcar Lilies. And way back in the olden days, remember those? We both lived out in Colorado, and which ones? Last Thursday, it was awesome. That was the stuff right there. And she would come and sing with me at some gigs around town, and I used to record my own CDs before I was into getting them to sound good and all that. And so I had her come and sing some harmonies on the CD, and I didn't have like sound equipment. And so what I was doing to record a CD is I had a mixing board, and I had a VCR deck. And I don't know if you know, you could record CDs on VCR deck in the 90s. And what I remember is I had her come over to my dad's house where the studio was. And when she got there, I said, and by the way, this isn't like a real studio. We have to do this whole thing in one take. And so she had to just like stand there and be real quiet. I was like, and you can't breathe in the verses unless you're singing, because that's going to all be on there, because I don't. And
I don't remember any of this.
it all took one, and you did it all in one take, I promise. It was brilliant. So, but this is a new song we've never done before together, so it's called Old Chevelle. We pulled off of the highway 'cause we had nowhere else to go. The sun was sinking fast, Spanish moss was hanging low. The leaves had started falling, that first cool September breeze was creeping straight into my spine and through the old oak trees. And when I feel that chill in the autumn air, I can hear the wheels of that old Chevelle, I can smell her hair, I can almost touch her trembling hand. When a night like this, it takes me back. We stacked pillows by the fireplace, took blankets off the bed, stayed up to watch old movies and talk of old regrets. The leaves had long since fallen, and that cold December breeze rattled through the maple trees as we drifted off to sleep. When I feel that chill in the morning air, I can see the snow on the windowsill, I can smell her hair, and there's nothing close that I've found yet to waking up to the sound of her breath. I'm not trying to remember her as we drive beside the river's edge. When the moon creeps through the willow trees on a night like this, I'm not trying to forget. Slightest chill in the evening air, I can hear the wheels of that old Chevelle, I can smell her hair, and I rarely miss the touch of her hand till a night like this, it takes me back. Thanks a lot. Jenny Goodspeed. She might just be back in the next 4 minutes. You never do know. So, it's a pretty big deal to get front row seats to a Dave Potts show. A lot of people wait in line in the rain for days at a time.
It was nice when you wait for us. Well,
Yeah,
we tripped
I'm gonna-
our way down the aisle.
I'm going to play the real songs now. It's really exciting to play in a room where there's a mirror in front of me so I can see what I'm doing because when I play a normal show and there's not a mirror, like I forget what an amazing visual spectacle one of my shows really can be, you know? Something else, it really is. So, I don't know if how many of you have had the extremely good fortune of talking to me, but it's quite an experience. I found at concerts, house concerts especially, people try to come up and talk to the performer afterwards. It doesn't really work as well with me as with most other people that play house concerts, and after a while, people just sort of give up. It's kind of like talking to a really good-looking brick wall, you know. And so now what happens is, instead of trying to talk to me and ask me all the typical folk singer questions, people now just come up to me and say, you know what? I know a guy that looks just like you. It happens all the time. I'm not making this up, just all the time. And I got really, at first, the first time it happened, I was really excited. I thought, wow, you know, a good-looking guy. That is awesome. And but now it happens so often, I just don't know what to say anymore. So I wrote a song to in response to what you are clearly thinking. All the time I have people saying, hey, I know some guy that looks like you. Yeah, you look like my brother or my cousin or that guy in the next cubicle. And I never know what to say, so I try to act impressed that you know such good-looking people. And every once in a while, the stars, they all align, and I get the chance to meet this lucky fellow. And every time what I find, it takes me by surprise, 'cause I just can't help but notice that dude's bald. That dude's so completely bald. There's no hair up there at all. That dude's bald. Don't get me wrong, I am not completely oblivious to the fact that I am sort of just a little bit maybe starting to thin out on top. And someday I assume that I'll be as bald as that dude. But come on, right now we're pretty different. And then I see a photograph of me from the back, and before I realize just what I'm seeing, I say, that dude's bald. That dude's so completely bald. There's no hair up there at all. That dude's bald. Thank you. Let's bring Jenny back to the stage here. Jenny is part of the Boxcar Lilies, who are doing a quad showcase. At what time?
11:05.
Mine's at 10:25, so you got time to catch both.
Yeah, I'm sure Sherby won't be busy, warming up or anything.
You should do both. This is tonight, 10:25 in the Empire Room and 11 Columbia Room. Don't miss either one. Honestly, for real. I'm gonna do something even more visually spectacular than what you're seeing right now. Like, I've got some serious tricks up my sleeve. I'm considering wearing a shirt with buttons, honestly, because it's that big of a deal, A lot of people used to give me a hard time for how I dress, and I don't know if you know this, but I almost always wear a blue T-shirt with jeans. That's my thing, because it looks good. And a lot of people say, you should dress up more, because you're Dave Potts. It's like, I don't need to show off here, but... and I don't know if you watch basketball, but Mark Cuban, who's worth about $47 billion, owns a basketball team that won the NBA championship. Game 7 of the NBA Finals, when his team won the NBA championship, do you know what he was wearing? Blue T-shirt and jeans. So don't tell me I need to dress up more. This is the $1 billion outfit right here. Speaking of clothing, this is a little ditty I wrote about my favorite sweatshirt. Pocket is torn from the years it spent catching the car keys and the spare change. You can tell it's been worn from the tears in the stitching. This old sweatshirt's seen better days. In March '96, I was traveling through this town and wanted a cheap souvenir. I would never have guessed from the name on the chest one day I'd end up living here. $12.99. It bought me the chance to stay warm for the night. And now in my mind, it takes me straight back to that place and that time. It's amazing the things you can buy for $12.99. I can still picture the red in her face, just as clear as this stain on the sleeve. She was convinced that she'd ruined our first date when she spilled her coffee on me. But the heat was no match for the look that she had, as the air outside kept getting colder. We drove to the beach and she shivered beside me, and I draped it over her shoulders. $12.99. It bought her the chance to stay warm for that night. And now in my mind, it takes me straight back to that place and that time. It's amazing the things you can buy for $12.99. Well, it's just $13 at the courthouse downtown for the papers to make her my bride. I dig through the pocket and come up one coin short, but the judge says that he'll let it slide. It's amazing the things you can buy. $12.99 bought me the chance to look back on my life, and one day in my mind I will remember this place and this time. It's amazing the things you can buy for $12.99. It's amazing the things you can buy. It's amazing the things you can buy. It's amazing the things you can buy for $12.99. Thank you. That's Jenny Goodspeed from the Boxcar Lilies. I don't really have time to do another song. I don't have any short songs. Thanks to Jenny for playing with me. It's a lot more exciting when she's here doing the harmonies, although honestly, it's slightly more impressive when I'm by myself and doing the harmonies. People are like, how did he do that, you know? So maybe I'll do that later on. Just come back and find out. Yeah. I got to practice it, really. Quiet in the back. I'll do the jokes around here. So Cheryl and David, thanks so much for doing this. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Come see me in the exhibit hall. I'm going to be, like, exhibiting. I'm going to be jumping. It's going to be, the table is amazing. Like, you don't want to miss it because there's stuff about me on it. If you haven't seen enough of me, you can get a postcard with my picture on it. And free refrigerator magnets. Woo! All right. Thank you very much. And Tread will be next.
You have now seen the Dave Potts.
All right.